Welcome, everyone, to Boom Mike Banter. This is episode 13. I am Nick. With me today is a motherfucker that I've known for a very long time. Love him very much. Ex-co-workers, now longtime fucking friends. And that person today is Nelson motherfucking Bentley. Nelson, how the hell are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Good. We were shooting the shit. Like this, I feel like this happens with every fucking guest that I have. Like, I invite you over. We like end up talking for like a fucking hour to an hour and a half beforehand just to catch up, which is good. But it's always a thing of like, fuck, like I gotta start the fucking podcast at some point, so we have to get this going. What the hell was I gonna say? So the initial fucking thing, because I talked about it in the fucking solo episode I did, but that obviously we saw Spider-Man together. But I want to table that and not talk about that immediately because there's a game that you and I have played.
Oh, boy. Okay.
And that game is Bloodstained for anyone who doesn't know. So Nelson, how the fuck have you been jamming the game? What the fuck's going on?
Okay, so I have played the fuck out of that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Yes.
We don't deserve it, but somehow we, the people, were like, we're going to throw money at a wall and get this game going.
Mm-hmm.
So it clearly is like Symphony of the Night.
Oh, well, it's the original creator.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I love. So, yeah, so for people that don't know, it's the original creator, Symphony of the Night, literally broke off of Konami because we all know, I mean, we love Konami, but we also fucking hate it for how fucked up of a company it is and how they're like, oh, are you an original developer with, like, loves, hopes, and dreams? Yeah, go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
So they kicked him out, and then he said, fuck it, I'm just gonna do my own thing. And I will say this, just personal opinion,
it's like Kojima.
Yeah, exactly. It is the best Kickstarter game I've ever played.
I think it's the only Kickstarter game I've ever played.
Really? You didn't play? Here, let me spit a couple off.
Ukulele.
Yep, Ukulele.
I didn't. I've had multiple people be like, "You need to play this if you like Banjo-Kazooie." Never got around to it.
It's a really good one. A terrible one. Mighty Number 9. Still hurts my soul this day.
Nope, never played
Don't play it. Don't play it.
I heard about the like combo thing. You have to like get a flow going and maintain it, and I was like, no.
The thing is, the concept would be way fucking cooler if the dashing and the speed was like the Mega Man Zero series.
Right.
That would have been fucking dope. If you literally would have like hyper dashed and shit. Like in Symphony of the Night. Like if you would do those fucking dashes and shit, that would be fucking awesome for it. But it's not. You Mega Man slide, which is like slow as fuck, and it just looks so weird. It's like, oh, I killed the enemy. Better fucking ride in low. Better fucking low ride into that shit and just dive in. So yeah. But no, yeah, for Bloodstained, I've been like, I mean, I'm one achievement away from 100%ing it. That's how much I've been loving it. It's been fucking nuts. Did you beat it yet?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I know last time we talked, you were like right near the end.
So can we talk about it?
Okay. Oh, yeah, hold on. So that's a very great point. All right, preface to anyone at this point in time right now from listening when we're only like a couple minutes in. We're going to be spoiling the shit out of Bloodstained, the fucking video game, and Spider-Man Far From Home. If anyone does not want spoilers on these two things, and I'm also going to probably post about it like when I upload these, please, for the love of God, jump the fuck out now, jump into the things you want, and then please listen back in. Anyway, Nelson, continue.
Okay, so I think it was right around the part where fun thing about the dashing you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to fight the gambler guy.
Oh,
who's got the coins.
Yep, and the mask.
He's supposed to flip it and make his head fall on the spikes. I didn't fucking know about that.
Well, here's what's weirder. I did flip it, but his head never fell on the spikes for me.
Really?
Yeah. So what's funny, because everyone told me like, oh, you flipped it around, right? I was like, yeah, I flipped it around just so.
Health.
Well, for me, I was like, I flipped it around just so I could hit his head a million times to make it easier. And then someone's like, oh no, like when he does the one move, if you flip it right then, that's when his head will fall. And I was like, oh, I didn't fucking know that. I was like, God damn it, shit.
See, there's the chest at the bottom of the room. I still don't think I got to. I don't remember.
It's not that important. It's a secret wall on the right side, like on the bottom right. There's a breakable wall. It's not that big of a deal. The one thing that I did was the one shard you get. It's like Detective's Eye. Where it literally creates a bubble around you, and it shows the
Super Metroid.
Exactly, and it literally shows all the destructible walls and stuff. So I literally ran through.
I never even equipped that. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Hey,
anyway.
I didn't until post game. So don't feel bad.
Okay.
Like I haven't
Okay.
done it throughout the story. I've ran through now all the old areas and have been doing that.
Which, by the way, Heretical Grinder is probably the
Oh,
best
it's the best! It's so
fucking
good!
thing in the entire
It's
game.
so good.
As soon as I encountered the first like Oni Shogun Ronin guy, I was like, cool, look, wow, he's cool. And then as like killed like 2, got the crystal and was like, what's this do? And it's just that amazing chip damage.
Yes.
And then I went through like
Per
a
second of
huge-
just it going like... Yeah,
go
it's
through a
fucking
huge
nuts.
section of the game, and then it's like, because I didn't know about the lady who, like, the items you got to give her. I didn't even see
Oh,
up
yep.
top. I thought you just like gave her random stuff.
Yeah,
and I was like,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
understand what's happening here.
Yes.
But then I figured out you can like upgrade the stuff with the crystals, and you find the
Yes.
items and synthesize. So I boosted the shit out of that thing, and then I go into the next boss fight and I use it, and it's like half the screen. It's just this huge giant sword. I'm like, oh, it's amazing.
Yep, it's fucking nuts. And like I love to like on any of the, not the actual like summonable fuck, I can't think of the word they use. It's not the actual
your little partner thing.
Oh, familiars. That's
yes,
what it is.
familiar.
It's not that shard, but the red ones where you can like summon. I love like if you set like
yeah, it pulls
shovel
in that
yeah,
other thing.
like
Yeah, the
shovel
Shovel
knight. If you upgrade it all the way, it's one big one. It's like one big shovel knight and then a bunch of like small mini ones. It's fucking great. When you level a bunch of those up, wacky shit happens on a lot of them. But I was telling you, dude, like, oh my god, that fucking first of all, the OD whole reference of fucking
with the whole
Dracula
and
and
everything,
Alucard
the librarian. I
librarian.
was like,
Yep. So, first of all, fucking amazing. I'm so happy that they did that. And then on top of it, like, the fact that you fucking rent out all his books, your stats go insane.
yeah. When you beat him, it's a secret boss.
And
He's
fucking,
like,
oh my god. And fucking Standstill. Like, that fucking shard is the gnarliest fucking thing.
And then if you use the I forget what the glasses are called. You get
Galleys
glasses.
glasses.
Yes. And then you can basically just pause time forever. You're like Dio. You're
Yeah,
just like...
you literally just DO the whole fucking time. It's so fucking dope. It's such a good fucking game. Like, anybody who has not played it yet, you know, it's really fun. We didn't really even spoil the game that much. But it's fucking phenomenal. Like, everyone and their fucking mother should goddamn play this game. If you're into any type of like Metroidvania type, any type of like re-exploring RPG, for the love of God, check this one out. It in my opinion, it's going to be a future classic. I think it's really fucking good.
Yeah, I definitely think that like future titles that come out in that genre are going to take a lot from it, because it's like you can customize the chick. I forget
Which
her
is
name.
so good.
What's her name? Miriam.
Yep.
Miriam.
You're right.
Yeah.
You got it.
And then all the items, every single item you equip and it changes. Like you see everything show up. It's like it's just the base of like what every game should be. Like you expect that.
Absolutely.
You're like, I equip this weapon, it should show up like. And a lot of games are skimping on that kind of stuff nowadays.
I totally agree.
So it's good to find like a gem in the rough like that.
And a really good thing, we were talking about this like we were talking about this actually before we went to the movies, but like another thing that I think RPGs fail on a lot, or overtly do, is like shooters like do this all the time, where it's like, hey, run to this location, do this thing, and it's like on your marker the whole time. And RPGs are doing that way more, and it's fucking, I feel like, I mean, like, it's not just me, I feel like it's pissing off the community, because it dumbs us down, and it's like, that's not, and I get that they're trying to get a bigger market into those type of things, which is why they fucking have to, like, spoon feed it, but it's so fucking dumb, because, like, I'm just frustrated now at communities when they go, a game's too difficult, and then they just fucking flip shit, and it's like, that should not be how it fucking works every time. Yes, if a game puts you in an impossible scenario that's, like, unbeatable, then absolutely there should be a way to cater to that. But, like, I don't want to bleed it into this whole thing, but it's this whole pseudo debate I also have when when fighting games come out and they nerf characters like within the first month. And it's like, I find that bullshit, cuz like you look at a game a great example, especially lately, is like Super Smash Bros. Melee. And the only reason I say that is because the game is over 15 years old, and still people are readapting a meta that's because they're just learning. Like, you know, like people would probably say now, like, oh, Hungry Box is like the best Jigglypuff main, and he won tournaments for like 5 years in a row. But we just had the first ever tournament winner with a Pikachu. No one has ever won a main Melee tournament with Pikachu before. And it's awesome because you're seeing a community after years of trying to counteract the meta of like Jigglypuff are getting over that. And it's fucking awesome. And creates a new fucking like flow of the game. You're seeing players adapt differently, and it's the same game. The game has never been touched. You know what I mean? It's not like Nintendo went,
you can't update that
yeah, it's not like Nintendo's like,
Plugged
we
into the
fucking,
wall.
we'll nerf Jigglypuff, because you're seeing that in Ultimate, though. Like, you see these weekly fucking updates of, like, you know,
December 7th, it's been like 7 or 8 months.
It's been patched at least 3 major times, like major times,
and that's crazy.
Yeah,
like,
it's fucking crazy.
Pichu takes more damage
to
itself now.
Hitbox is bigger, so now he can't just stand there and like dip out on like the normal jabs and stuff.
Some of that stuff I get, but at the same time, like, personally, I'm a Belmont user, so
I feel you.
It's that combo of items. He, like, Link has always been like that. You start the boomerang bomb,
big utility.
Whatever.
He's a utility character.
Yeah, and then it was like the Gale boomerang. So if you threw your bomb into it and then threw the Gale boomerang first,
combo
it could catch the bomb and pull it back into people into your smash attacks.
Yep.
It's like it's like they never bothered nerfing that kind of stuff. But then at the same time, this new one comes out. The stuff's all attached to the internet and everything. But I don't know.
No, listen, man, I totally agree with that. And that's the thing, and to back it up, because I don't want to lose the tangent that we were on. But going back to RPGs and stuff with that, it's so infuriating to me. And what's so refreshing about like Bloodstained, and this is going to be a huge spoiler, is one of the best things is when you beat one of the main bosses in the game that's kind of like your rival, but also your friend Zangetsu, who you're like unsure what the fuck is going on. It's like a Snape hater. Yeah, it's like a fucking. Well, I was about to say, it's like a Snape story. Like he constantly is with you. You don't know if he's a good guy, bad guy, and then finally at the end you find out he's good. Gives you the Zangetsu as like main fucking sword, and without any blatant direction, like without the game going, you have to go to this fucking location, dipshit. Like this is what you have to do. He tells you in his dialogue, hey, this is the only weapon that can hurt this fucking demon that you saw in the beginning and the middle of the game. Like, you have to use this weapon. So just through trial and error, and of course, like the first time I fought Jebel after I got Zangetsu, I didn't equip it. Yeah. So I got a different ending where she just laughs in the background. So I was like, huh. I looked everywhere in the castle. And I was like, there's like nothing really else to do. I can't go anywhere. There's nothing else. I don't know what the fuck to do. And then sure enough, I just was like, well, I'll equip Zangetsu and see what the fuck happens. Equip it. Cut the moon like in the first 10 seconds. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. And it's just so great because like the last game, in my opinion, that gave me that like, oh my God, I found a thing that I feel like no one is talking about or like it's not like a major thing or it's not ripped open immediately was like the first Dark Souls. That was like the last game we got where like it wasn't spoon fed to you. Yep. You had no fucking idea what to do. Like you had no idea. Friends. Yep. And Dark Souls was so much crazier because that started you in the middle and you could go 4 different branches. You had no fucking idea which one was good, which one you're supposed to do, why things work, why some enemies are immortal. Like you had no fucking. It was a mystery. And like I know people love to complain about that shit, but it's so I don't know, like for me I love the challenge of that, of like figuring it out and mastering it without getting spoon-fed the whole time. I think that's a big fucking deal. You know,
in its own right, Dark Souls has a very Metroidvania vibe to it, like except it's a completely different beast in itself. But you still have that like you go through these areas and you're like, what the fuck is that? And then you fuck with it a little bit and you're like, I use everything I have, it does nothing. I'll be back.
Yep, like, exactly.
And then it's just that backtracking, because then you go back through that whole area. There's warp points and stuff, but then you go through a couple screens and you're one-shotting everything. Like you feel that power increase.
Yes.
And like stuff with RPGs, how you were saying, like they're taking like entire cities out of games and just shrinking that down to one NPC.
Yes.
That's like a menu in a game. And we used to get like on the good old PlayStation and PS2 games, it's like you ran through a whole town, and when like the story part ended, and you're like, where the fuck am I in this town? And like you had to like learn the whole town itself, like all the different places to go. And most of the time, those places were so big, like a friend would be like, "Did you see this?" And you're like, I thought that was like just art background. I didn't realize if I ran back in that direction, the screen would change to a different place. Like,
dude, I totally agree. Like, it's funny because that's that type of conversation I haven't had with anybody in years, and you and me were having that about Bloodstained. Like, I was like, oh, did you get the standstill? And you were like, what? And you were like, I know there's a secret boss, but I was like, it's right here in the thing. It was so good because, like, of course, like, it's just so nice to swap stories like that. Like one of my, and this is going on a weird tangent, but at least on RPGs, like, one of my favorite series of all time is, like, the Tales of series. Like,
yeah.
I love that shit because that's, like, in my opinion, that's another one where even if you have, like, Tales of fans, like, the first thing you do is not rip the game online and try to look up, like, everything. No, you'll, like, talk to somebody and be like, hey, did you play that, like, weird mini game in the town to get, like, that custom outfit? And it's like,
Right.
no, what?
Right.
Like, yeah, you can have this all gold armor if you, like, kill this enemy and then take it to this, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, how... I live off that shit. Like, I love that stuff. Like, going on, like, a really weird example, the one where I think it's almost a little too difficult would be, like, at least back when, the ones now are, like, a joke, but the Ys series,
Oh, yeah,
like,
dude.
YS.
Oh, the YS.
The YS shit, like, back when they did the reports on, like, Vita, and I played them, I played, like, the OG, like, PC, PS1, like, I bought them on Steam shit.
Beat the shit out of a dead squirrel for 5 minutes.
Yes!
And, like, pelts are just falling out of it. I'm like, this game is awesome.
Yep,
Then,
like that shit. But then, like, yeah, there's, like, I think in the first two, there's, like, a vampire boss that you can't even do damage to. Mm-hmm. And then you're taking, like, triple damage. So, obviously, you're like, okay, something's wrong. I don't know what to do. And then, like, later, you can get, like, this silver armor. So, at least, like, you don't get hurt with, like, triple damage. So, then that makes sense. But then, like... that was one I literally looked up online. It was like, yep, there's this one secret wall that you have to break down in this one room, and it's the only sword in the game that can do damage to it. And I was like, and then that's where I draw the line, because I was like, because it's not like in a main room, it's not like in a main boss room, it's not like it's in like a character NPC room where they go, hey, like maybe you should check out that weird land, or like it's nothing, like
they're off the beaten
it's
path
literally
somewhere.
off the beaten path, and it fucks you completely from progressing through the main story. So that's a good example where I draw the line. I'm like, that's too over, like that's way too much. Like that's like old school Sega Genesis play, or like old school Nintendo get a fucking hidden thing in Zelda 2 and like maybe you'll progress through it. Like that shit I think is a little bit too much, but picking up like main key items and fucking with them around in games, like more games should be doing that, I think.
Yeah. Bloodstained I feel definitely like simplified a couple things in that aspect of like you get it's double jump, I believe.
Yes.
And then you can actually upgrade double jump to high jump, and it switches to like a button press, and it's like not a conventional like Metroidvania style high jump where it's like, no, she goes like off the screen in most cases, like flying up off.
Typically the only time it would ever happen was in it doesn't happen
like
in Castlevania, but in Metroid, but it would be like the moon
the
jump.
Speed jump thing where you're like, and then you press down to try to shoot her up.
Yep, exactly. Yep, you do like that light dash almost thing, even though that's not what it's called, but you would do like that hyper run and then moon jump.
I haven't talked to too many people that like beat the whole like post game and started like second files, because I'm actually like waiting to go into my second file.
Okay.
But is there like a bat upgrade, or like can you, because in Symphony of the Night you could be like
you had the different forms.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. There's nothing like that. Like she can't like switch into like a flying creature and just like go around.
No,
right? They just did the flip. Like
they did the flip.
He took like that new game plus element thing and
the re-explore the castle upside down.
On the fly.
They have the flip ability. Awesome. Obviously, you just said they have the double jump and the high jump, and then you beat the ninja to get the dash, right?
Oh yes, dude! It's Sonic. It's supposed to be Sonic. Like, can we just like? As soon as I was like, "What? You want to race me?"
The blue blur effect.
Yeah,
I was like,
look at
blue.
And he started putting the flips around. I was like, they put the spikes there.
They put the spikes, and in one of the jumps, he does like a circular jump.
Yep.
He literally
over
jumps
the
over
little
the circular
like booby trap like charm thing that's there.
And I was like, this motherfucker. They literally threw in Sonic in a fucking ninja level. I was like, these motherfuckers.
Yep.
It's so good. There's so many, and that's another one too. Like especially being like an indie developer, like Kickstarter game. So many fucking references, so many Easter eggs, so many references, and it's so good. And that's what I love about it. Like you look at shit like that, and like people who have played a ton of shit are like awesome. But then if you still just play it casually, you're like, oh, that's cool. And then like later down the road, you'll be like, oh, and then connect dots like later. Yeah, like oh my god, that's the one thing I will say too. Like because I've actually talked to a couple of people that have checked out Bloodstained. They're like, oh, I'm into it. Holy fuck! And the first thing I tell them is like, you have to play Symphony of the Night. Like, you have to fucking do it. Like, Jesus Christ.
So you can appreciate this game so much more.
Oh, so good. Just since we're on that kick for like 10 seconds before we hop into the whole fucking Spider-Man thing, how... first of all, I know you have to be loving it. I know you have to be jamming, but I have to ask anyway. Have you watched the Castlevania on Netflix?
Oh my god, dude, it was amazing. I think it's like the 7th episode, the battle when they storm the castle.
Yeah, it's
like
good.
At that point there's a fucking like vampire revolutionary war where they're fighting amongst each other,
Oh,
and then
man.
Belmont, Alucard, and the speaker mage chick all walk in and they're like, oh shit.
I think Oh my god, I might have to look it up. Is her name Miriam?
No.
Hold on.
Was it?
No,
it was
hold
like
on.
Maria or something.
Oh, yeah, it might be Maria. Hold on. Shit, I gotta look this up now because it's seriously gonna fucking.
Yeah.
It's gonna set me off.
She uses ice magic.
Yeah.
And Miriam's got the crystals, so they could do some inspired
Castlevania,
reference.
Netflix, characters. Here, hold on. We're gonna find it in like literally 0.5 seconds here. Trevor, Richter, Graham. Why the fuck is it showing me? Silpha. Never mind. We're all fucking wrong.
Near.
We're all wrong. Everyone's wrong. Jesus Christ. Thank God. Because for some reason I was like, fuck. I was like, if they literally dragged it that quick, I was like, what the fuck? Okay, that makes a lot more sense. But no, yeah, that last battle is fucking insane. I literally, it's
the music, everything.
Yeah, episode 7, that whole shit, dude. The first time. Fucking, and like, this shouldn't be a spoiler because it's fucking Castlevania. If you don't know Dracula dies at some point, you're an idiot. That's not a spoiler. I don't give a fuck. Like, that's not even spoiler. Dude, oh my god. The first time I saw that, I cried. I was so emotional.
Oh, dude, the ending was phenomenal.
I'm killing my boy.
Yeah.
You're just like, fuck.
Yeah.
You finally just realized.
You see him lose it, like.
It's so sad.
Yep.
And just even that last episode, like, fucking Belmont's going off with Silpha, which is her name, to go fucking live like happily ever after, but clearly they're still doing shit with the show, which is gonna be dope. And then Alucard's just sitting there and he finally can let everything hit him at once. He just lets go. I was like, it's so good. It's fucking good.
Dude.
I cannot wait for fucking season 3. I'm so amped.
Battle, dude, he uses everything that you've seen from like the
it's
video
every
games.
Reference.
He turns into the fucking wolf and he's running around. The sword familiar comes out and he's dude, it's crazy. Yep.
And crazy. The subtle reference that I love. He even goes mist form for a minute against the fucking the
one general.
Yeah. The one fuck, I can't think of the word I'm trying to use. No. The fuck. Oh my god, I can't think of the fucking word. The kimono fucking vampire. That's what I was trying to say. The more like Asian theme one. She has like the hair bun and shit. That's the one that goes like mist form, and then Silpha freezes her. And then
is that the
Alucard
main one
smashes.
that tries to like do the whole coup d'etat thing?
No, that's Camilla.
Okay,
you're thinking of Camilla.
Yeah, she's not dead, is she?
No, Camilla's got the one dude. She enslaved
the Soul Forge guy.
Yes,
or whatever.
She enslaved the Soul Forge dude.
Fun fact: if you don't know, the blondish, white-haired guy, you play him one of the games
in PS2.
The PS2
ones.
Yep.
Because
as soon as I saw him, I was like, dude, I know this guy.
Yeah,
and I know why he's getting fucked.
Yeah, both of them.
He's probably gonna be one of the main characters.
Both, I know. Both of them, both the Soul Forgers are like main characters in the PS2 game.
Yep.
I mean, they look very different from the Netflix ones, but it's still like it. And I love like normally that's a thing that would actually bother me is like, oh, it's not. It's like sticking to the source material, but totally going in a different direction. Normally that shit pisses me off, but they're doing it really fucking well.
Yes,
they're doing it so fucking well. They're fucking killing it.
Yep.
Oh my god, it's so good. The only thing I'm a little bit like worried about, but I don't think I will be like that much, is Dracula was such a tether to like season 1 and especially season 2. Like without him now, I'm kind of wondering like, are we gonna lose a big impact? But he really mellowed out in season 2 anyway, so I think it was without directly saying anything, they kind of passed the torch off to like the main cast doing shit. So,
I think technically who would they even be fighting after that? Because don't they always try and bring Dracula back?
Well, yeah, but this is what I love about it now. So the end of it kind of set up 2 major villains. You have the other Soul Forge, who's in the desert, who's resurrecting people now and is kind of taking Dracula's like fucked up sentiment, because that Dracula pushed him off because of his like whole demented side. So he's taking that whole demented thing and he's just gonna rule with like a fucking iron fist, like that's it. And then you have Camilla with a couple of her remnant vampire soldiers and the other Soul Forge. So it looks like it's what I'm hoping, and this is purely my prediction, because they intentionally set up 2 different Soul Forges. I think we're going to have 2 different stories. It's going to be Belmont and it's going to be Richter and Silpha fighting one, and then Alucard going after the other.
Oh, that would be nuts.
Personally, I think it's going to be Alucard going after Camilla, because that would be so much better, because Camilla was such a fucking bitch with everything. And vampires against vampires. So it would be so much doper to get a human aspect.
It would make more sense to have the Belmonts go against the guy who's like, I'm going to resurrect shit.
And who's technically a human. It's like humans against human, vampires against vampire. I think that would be so dope. And then even like either at the end of the season get them back together, or just at least have those like end, and then here's what I would really love. Perfect scenario. They wrap up but then there's an underlying story that's been happening where someone is trying to bring Dracula back. So
Right.
literally they kill both of them off, they figure it out, and then right at the end, Dracula comes back. And then you're like,
You
oh,
guys fucked everything up.
exactly.
Give me back that
then
Omega
he,
Matrix.
then he does like miserable pile of secrets. And then you're like, oh shit, like, oh fuck. Or the other thing I was thinking too, they could, not now, but seasons down the road, they could time jump it. So then you could get then you could literally get like Richter in
Oh my God, that would
Castlevania
be
type game,
amazing.
and literally have like fuck, I can't think of the Belmont in this one. Shit, it's not Richter, is it?
Speaking of, are we talking about Bloodstained again? Because you
Let's
totally,
jump back.
you
Yeah,
totally
absolutely.
fight
Absolutely.
Richter in that
Yes,
one.
zombie Belmont.
Yes.
Oh man,
I was like, no.
fuck. The only room that still bothers me is the one chick's room. It's locked by a key, and it has a bunch of the music.
Celeste's room?
Yeah, thank you. And it just has a bunch of the music boxes. I still
If you
personally.
open the far left one and sit in the chair by it,
Yep.
a figure like materializes in the other
Thank
chair.
you. There we
and
go.
That's all I fucking figured out.
Okay. I feel like there's even
maybe
more
if I
to
looked
it.
stuff up
I
now,
know,
people would figure out.
I feel like
more,
I feel like there's even more to it because literally, Sean, a fucking mutual friend of ours, has literally been hitting me up, and he's like, "Have you figured?" He's like, "It's a one room I can't figure out."
That's why
what
I
the
don't want
fuck
to
to
start
do."
playthrough 2 because like if I don't yet and I have everything open, then when stuff becomes available, I can just hop right back in. And
Well, by the way, just if it puts you at ease any better, because when you start a new playthrough, it doesn't overwrite your first one. So when you start a new playthrough, you can put it in slot 2, so you can still have your post game file,
I
not
think you
fuck
did
with it
tell
at
me
all.
that.
Yeah, you don't have to fuck with it at
Okay.
all, and literally go into the next one. Because a dumb thing that happened to me, another like minor complaint I have about Bloodstained, was when I beat the game, a couple of the boss files for my character encyclopedia didn't save.
What?
Like Zangetsu on the final fight, it didn't
What?
save that he was in my archive when I obviously beat him and got Zangetsu.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was like, what the fuck? And so I literally speed ran it on a New Game Plus. I beat it in like 2 hours. And I literally got it. And then because all your info carries over, I got the achievement for it. But
Okay.
on my synthesis stuff, because the last achievement that's by far the most difficult is get every item in the game.
Right.
So I just loaded back my original save file where all my fucking items are, and I'm not
That's
fucking with
awesome.
anything. And then I'm still going through that. But that's a whole fucking process. But
Yeah.
but yeah, that's like the only like minor complaint. So Nelson, before we get to more of the story, play fucking Bloodstained.
Yeah, it's
for the love
amazing.
of for the love of fucking
Jesus
God.
Christ.
Yeah, play it, fucking enjoy it. You'll thank us later. The fucking main coup de grace that I want to talk about is Spider-Man. Obviously we saw it together, and the timing couldn't have been any better too. Because when I asked you to fucking jump on the podcast, you said you're gonna see it again.
Yeah, I was like, actually going that day to see
It's
it.
fucking perfect. So I'm gonna prep. So first, I want to know your thoughts. Just initial concept thoughts before we like get into shit.
Okay.
Especially seeing it a second time.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to come off as like a Spider-Man fanboy and be like, oh, it's the best movie ever I've seen. But as far as we just got some crazy wild shit with like Infinity War and Endgame and stuff is
Yes.
like clearly just like you could tell they were like, these are the movies we're gonna make. And then
Yes.
they're like, what are we gonna follow this up with?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we need to fucking tread carefully right now.
Yes.
They do a fantastic job of like, as far as I'm concerned, everything. The way the characters acted, the storyline that they explain, how the blip happened. Right off the bat, you see like kids in the gym just like
Jumping back.
turning to dust, like,
Yeah.
and then they're like, oh yeah, but then they come back, and it's like
Bruh.
the high school's like news morning. This
Yes.
is what's for lunch broadcast, so it comes off like super cheesy and awesome at the same time.
Yes.
Oh, but dude, like just their whole concept of like, if you blipped, you didn't age at all. You just blipped back, and you were
Yeah.
the same.
So before we jump in, I am going to say this a little bit, and I swear I'm not just doing this for devil's advocate. There's three major things, and I really thought about this. I was very mixed once the movie ended. Once the movie ended, I swear to God, I was like, and do not get this twisted. So here's what I want to preface it as. I rate this as 3 different ratings for this movie.
3 different.
As a teen romantic comedy, solid A. Solid A, teen romance. They nail the comedy aspect. They do really good on the teen bubbly shit. I'm totally down. Marvel Cinematic Universe, keeping contingency with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, keeping it compiled, having shit going on, having that overarching story. A solid B+. I'm definitely down for what they're doing. A Spider-Man comic book fan film, I give it like a C.
What?
I know.
What?
I know. Hold on. And this is why I want to do a podcast about this. I swear to God. So hear me out on this, okay? There's a lot of things that I want to pick apart on this, but first let me give major compliments, like huge compliments. Number one, like I said, the way Marvel is telling their story and having a whole universe, they're doing a good job. Spider-Man is in a good role for what the cinematic universe is doing. And bear with me, because I'm going to pick that apart, but I want to give a compliment where compliments due. The other thing, the Mysterio scenes are some of the best scenes in Marvel. Like, in Marvel in general.
Yeah.
Like 100%. I won't fight anybody on that. That's phenomenal.
Their trippy shit and like that you've seen from everything before this movie came out, like
Strange
it's like they
and
took
shit
those
like
guys,
that.
and they were just put them in a room and locked them in there, and they were like,
yeah.
"We got it, you guys are gonna like this," and they were like, "No, stay in there longer.
Yep.
Figure more shit out.
Well,
make it crazy."
I feel like they took like the late '90s, even like early 2000s, like when they got Mysterio really good writing, when he wasn't like, "Oh, I'm a fired stage performer," like when he actually got like beefier shit. Then I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, I felt like they literally ripped off, like, 16 pages. But they did their own thing, too. Like, the Iron Man zombie thing, that's totally new. And that was dope.
That was
amazing.
Such a good reference.
Absolutely.
That was amazing.
It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. But I love that. I literally feel like they took, like, a 16-page thing, pointed at the animators, like, you were going to make this. And we're like, okay, we'll make something like, no. This. Like, shot for shot, no stills. Like, you are fucking doing this. And they were like, okay, like, we're going to fucking do it. So anyway, so, like I said, that shit, phenomenal. Now, there's a lot of things. So I want to. The first thing, I'm going to nitpick a couple small things, and I'm going to talk about the overarching thing that really upsets me as a whole, as a big Spider-Man fan.
I can't wait.
So nitpicks. The blip's a really good one. I love. So hold on. So I love the comedy scene that they do in the gymnasium and stuff. But here's the problem that I kind of have with it, and they kind of fucked their own continuity up with it a little bit. Okay. So hold on. So first, keep in mind. Just jokingly, because I don't really explain it too much. So, when you blip exactly, and they show that because they show the kids who were at the gym blip right back in. Exactly, so, it proves that you are exactly where you were. So, what I want to know is the people that blipped in who were on an airplane, who were just in the middle of the fucking thing. Also, now this is going scientific, and this is a bullshit one. This is a really bullshit one. The Earth also rotates. So they could all be blipping in and not even be within the fucking Earth's rotation and be at a totally different point. Just saying that out loud. Now, obviously, it really can't be because they did blip in from that spot, but just
reality in the time.
I know, yeah.
All the schmuck.
And I get it. And listen, I'm not that much of a harper on it. I know that they have a message to put out, but here's the one that I kind of don't get, and it's kind of a big thing that you kind of have to lead in. So the older kid that is used as the joking pivotal love triangle point.
Right.
Here's the part I don't get. He's back in school with them in the same grade when they just fucking showed, because at first my thought was, oh, they stopped school entirely.
No, they can.
I know.
School.
But why is then he in the same grade as them?
Okay.
When he kept going in school, because then shouldn't he have just fucking then like graduated?
No. Okay, so I think because I just saw this. They said he was in 5th grade or some shit, and it
had to be older.
Yeah, I forget. It says like 5 years.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Okay.
Not 5th grade. My bad. And it shows the people that get blipped.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. They're gone out of the equation.
Yes.
So now we're just talking about people that are here in the real world.
Yes, which has been, 3 years after the fact? That's how long Endgame was?
Exactly.
Endgame was like 3 years.
So, just the people that were left
Yep.
continued to age and do their schooling and stuff like that.
Yep.
And all they were talking about in that moment at the end that got kind of confusing was that current year that everybody blipped back.
Yes.
They were technically over halfway through that particular year.
Yes.
And they washed everything and reset school for that year.
Yeah, but do you see what I'm saying though?
You're talking about the kid who got older?
Yeah, the older kid.
Okay, so oh man.
See what I'm saying?
The way that I took it, I know, right. You really gotta stop and think about it.
Because they don't explain it that much. Because listen, I was totally on board though, in the sense of when they said, oh, kids get older and shit, and I was waiting for that to happen in this movie. The biggest thing, I was like, if they don't talk about the whole snap, and I love they call it the blip. I love that they put a different name on it. Right. I'm actually a total big fan of that.
Not the snap.
I'm glad that they kind of uniquely put names on shit, but see what I'm saying? Like, you're, by the way, for like listeners who can't see, you're thinking about it because that's a thing that they pivot on. Like, they pivot on that he's in the same grade. But when I think about it, it's like, wait, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Because even Andy's like, I have a blip beard. It's my blip beard.
Yes!
Like, the people that were gone, that's all the facial hair he could grow for that
For
amount
3 years or whatever.
which kind of doesn't make sense to me now that I'm sitting here
See?
thinking about it.
And so, and listen, and I'm not, and I don't want this to get twisted. As an entire movie itself, I thought this was a good movie. And I do want to preface that, okay? I don't want this to get misconstrued.
See, at that morning scene when they like
know.
are explaining like this is what's for lunch thing, and
Yes.
they explain that like this is the blip and this is when the kids age and
Yep.
stuff. I feel like in that moment when I was sitting there watching it, it made sense, and I can't remember exactly how they explained it.
But movies do that though too. By the way, like when you're
They
watching
just
in
kind
the
of
moment,
like wash over it
and
quick.
the other thing is too, like, and this is why I'm not like super nitpicking it. It's also like they intentionally do it in a kid's auditorium, like morning video thing. So I get it. They're not going to scientifically. I love the fact that the other kid is like, this shit's fucking nuts, and she's like, you can't say that. And he's like, it's
the
fucking
last day of
crazy.
school.
Yeah, it's like it's
I
crazy.
think we'll be fine.
Like, I love that, but like, okay.
Dude, now you got me harping on this. I'm thinking about
Listen,
it.
man, listen. Okay, so I have a couple other things. The other one that really just these are nitpicks, just minor nitpicks. Okay, so you got Peter, right? And you have the beginning, and let's go to Homecoming. Okay, so Homecoming, he's obviously going after the chick who is Vulture's daughter,
Right?
You know, which you find out, and then obviously that doesn't work out, and that's totally fine. And throughout the whole movie, Zendaya, who you don't know her name, you just know she's like, you know, the out there chick the entire time, and they're just cracking jokes. And throughout the entire first movie, you have no implication that there could be a relationship.
Yep.
But the fact that, of course, at the end of the movie, she drops that she's MJ, and then everyone's like, okay. And here's the thing. I'm totally down. Her name is Mary Jane, you know, or at least MJ. I think it might actually, her name I think is actually different. I don't think it's Mary Jane this time.
I
think it's
forget
actually,
exactly
yeah,
what it is.
it is something different. But anyway, in my mental background, I'm like, that is totally fine. That,
Oh, dude, I love it.
Yeah.
I think she is a fantastic MJ.
I think so too.
Oh, yeah.
But what I don't understand is why at the beginning of this movie, and keep in mind, like, Homecoming happened, I think, like, not even a year. Infinity War happens, and then Peter Parker is blipped, okay?
Well, yeah, all of them were blipped.
They're all blipped.
She was MJ
okay,
and
but,
the friend.
But just bear with me just on Peter for a moment, okay?
Okay.
Peter comes back, does the Infinity Gauntlet shit, all the shit happens in Endgame, and then all of a sudden, this movie starts, and he is, like, head over heels into MJ?
Well, it's funny.
Like, what the fuck? Like,
I was
what?
thinking about that, like, while I was watching it, and the way that I took it was very, like, a man who had, like, gone to war and, like, died and got his, like, second chance and was, like, seriously, like, fuck being a superhero. I died.
Well,
I fucking died.
so
like,
hold on.
saving the world.
So, okay, so to go into this, and then this is going to be the bigger thing. I totally agree with what you're saying. My problem, and this is what I think, because I had the same feeling at Homecoming, and I had the same feeling watching this one. I have a very difficult time. Let me start off with this. I really had this whole like thought process. So I want to start this way. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero of all time. Just for me personally. Green Lantern's like a strong second. I know it's DC, but just in general, Spider-Man is my favorite superhero of all time. The biggest reason for me, and I think even a lot of fans that are fans of just Spider-Man in general, especially you also being like an avid comic reader.
Oh, indeed.
Is Spider-Man is one character that is extremely, especially when you compare the Marvel cast, is one human being, not alien, not fucking Martian, that is relatable.
Krillin,
Peter,
he's the Krillin of the group.
Yes, but I'm saying like Peter has trouble paying rent, talking to girls. Like he literally is just trying to get his shit together all the time. And this fucking series, and it's very different, and I know that, but like the problem that I have with just this Peter Parker in general, and this is what I want to say too, this isn't a critique on this movie. This is a critique that I have as what they're doing with this Spider-Man. And it bothers me a little bit because first of all, Uncle Ben does not exist. I mean, he technically does. He died.
Yeah, right.
He died.
They just skip all
and
that.
they pseudo bring it up. And clearly, they're more pitching that Tony Stark is the pivotal role in Peter Parker's life. Is he the replacement? That's debatable. But at least he's this. But the thing that upsets me, and this is kind of where I'm going off of the relatability thing, and this is constantly why I'm just a little bit like, is You have Uncle Ben, who clearly died at some point. But let's even say, because Peter almost never references him once. And you don't even hear Aunt May really talk about it ever. And really especially show any like type of emotion toward the fact that it happened. They just kind of go like, yep, it happened. You know, and here's my thing. Do we need to see another origin story? Like, did I need to see this cinematic universe have an Uncle Ben actually die? No. But could have we at least throughout Homecoming and Far From Home gotten at least one even pseudo flashback of fucking Uncle Ben? Abso-fucking-lutely. And that really should have driven home stuff. The other thing that I think was a total waste, which really kind of upsets me, is you have Tony Stark, and obviously Tony Stark is the big one for Peter, and they set that up in Homecoming and obviously in this one. And you have him show up like 13 times in this movie. Like, literally, he's pictured fucking everywhere. Because, of course, he's like the hero of all time that sacrificed himself. Totally, I get it. But they're really driving home, like, Tony is fucking haunting Peter. Like, get this shit through your fucking head.
Just like Peter was haunting Tony. Like,
yes.
It's such a yin-yang.
Like... And what I don't kind of get, though, is when you're in mourning, I don't think the first thing you want to do is, like, really go after a chick. Because literally you have Tony die, and it's kind of this multitask thing. So, but like I said, bear with me.
Because even Nick Fury says, he's like, I didn't want to exchange numbers at Tony's funeral. That would be inappropriate.
Exactly. Like and they're dropping that the whole movie. Movie, Tony's dead. You really got to understand Tony's dead.
That Tony's dead is a third character that's like never physically in the movie.
Exactly.
That you see. It's
just you have Zombie Tony. He's literally in the movie.
Please, like that's the cover to Civil War 2 or the Marvel Universe Dies or something.
Yes, it is definitely one
like
of them.
It's
I know
such
what you're
a
talking
perfect like one-to-one of that. Oh my god, when that happened, I was.
But and like I said, this is heavy critique, so bear with me. And this is, like I said, this is way more of a Marvel fanboy of what I want out of Spider-Man. I'm not discrediting the validity of this movie because what the cinematic universe is doing with Spider-Man is fine. As a Spider-Man fan, though, this is what's hurting me because you hear this debate all the time of like what a true Spider-Man fan is. And I'm sorry, like I still do not think any of the actors who have portrayed Spider-Man have gotten it right yet. I think we've gotten elements.
If we could get a fusion of these guys together.
Exactly, 100%. And here's my thing too. Like I said, I don't think Tom Holland is doing a bad job as Spider-Man. I think he's doing amazing for what the Marvel Cinematic Universe wants Tom Holland to do. But anyway, and the other thing I was going to get at though was like you have them also to clearly setting up Spider-Man to be, you know, quote unquote the next Tony Stark. You literally have a direct parallel of that at the end of the movie when he's building his own suit and doing that stuff. And
I love Led Zeppelin.
Exactly. I love that shit. And I was totally down. The only kind of thing where I'm a little confused about the message though is like, don't be Iron Man. Be your own person, Peter. While he's literally in the next shot being Iron Man. I was like, literally Happy literally tells him, hey man, don't be a fucking carbon copy. Tony struggled all the time with that. Be your fucking self.
Yep.
And then Happy's the first fucking person literally playing fucking AC/DC. And I was like, dude. And listen, in the moment though, I'm right there with you. The first time I saw it, I was like, hell yeah, this is fucking great.
I think I even saw the stealth suit in that run across when he flicked the thing. I was like,
so. And this is to back it up even a little bit too. So like I said, so you have Tony obviously being the main thing, and when it comes to comics though too, like, you know, when you compare like Tony Stark and Iron Man, that was never a character you heavily related to. You would read his struggles and relate to the struggles that Iron Man was dealing with in the moment. Could you relate the fact that he was a millionaire playboy like philanthropist? No. Fuck no. Could you relate that he could have billions of dollars to put on this armor suits? No. Could you relate though to the moments he had like alcoholism and he couldn't really ever get close to anybody and he constantly felt distant? Yes. But that's why, and I'll be honest though.
Too.
Yes.
Tony did such a good job of putting off that helplessness. Once he got that feeling of like everything that's bigger than them, he did such a fantastic job.
100%. And so when even back when reading the comics, that's why like I'm just sorry, but I'm just being honest. Like that's why you look at like a Spider-Man comic like Spider-Man comics are infinitely more popular than Iron Man because they're more relatable. You can read it and really fucking vibe with it. Like one of the big things that Stan Lee has always said about a lot of the Marvel costumes and a lot of the Marvel costumes that kind of stand the test of time is, and Spider-Man was the first one, the outfit's completely covered, which means you could be white, black, anything, and you could visualize yourself in that costume, even if you don't, or even if you're not proactively doing it.
Right.
It's a costume that you can get behind because it's not like
Yep.
you look at it and immediately would disassociate yourself from it. You know what I mean? You could be like, oh, anyone can wear the suit. And once you get to dope stories like Miles Morales and stuff, it proves that even more so. Anybody could wear the suit. Like, anybody can get into that hero role.
Which, speaking of Miles, I like how they already gave Peter, like, electric webs. He totally uses that in this movie, and I was like, how fucking dare they?
Yeah,
that should have been a Miles thing.
I know, they're jumping bold.
But
another nitpick before I jump into stuff, I'm also not liking that every cinematic Marvel movie with Spider-Man now has to be, like, the thing that's bothering me with this and this is one thing I will say about this movie franchise that is bothering me with this new Spider-Man stuff. Yes, he has a shadow looming over him that is Tony Stark, and he's having a difficult time with that. The main story, though, with Spider-Man in general was, he had a tragic loss, and he is now trying to redeem himself from that loss for the rest of his life, and constantly trying to come to terms with that and what he's doing. What I don't like what this Spider-Man has to do is he's just constantly trying to, like, try to either figure out how to be, like, cooler or try to be, like, better than, like, the dad figure that he clearly has, like, in his life being, like, Tony. And he's trying to, like, figure out, like, what the fuck's going on with that. And yet again, that's not a bad thing. It's just not what Spider-Man is for. And then because of that, you also lose the motivation. Like, because now we don't have Uncle Ben, why is Spider-Man putting on the suit every time? And, like, just another thing of it, too, was, like, even if, so they don't show Uncle Ben, but they just kind of go, with great power comes responsibility, Spider-Man already knows that. And you're fucking telling me, movie 2, the only thing Spider-Man wants to do, after knowing him even in Homecoming, the only thing Spider-Man wants to do to give up the fucking glasses and the fucking superpowers is go on one date with Mary Jane? Fuck off, man. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it'd be different if they were dating. It'd be different if he really was, like, just wanted to be a normal kid. If he just said, I want to be a normal kid, that I would get behind. He wants to get out of the chaos. The fact that this motherfucker is like, dude, I've just been trying to get on this date, and I've been thinking with my dick this whole movie. Like, just give me one fucking moment. I was like, come on, man. But then you get one of the greatest fucking superhero twirl mustache reveal moments of Mysterio, which I loved.
They fucking rang that shit out dry so far. Did you hear me that night in the movie theater?
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck are they doing?
I know.
And then they're like, the bar starts to fade away, and I'm
finally.
like, oh shit.
Because that's the other thing too. The movie really, in the beginning,
sell you on him possibly being from another dimension and everything.
And my whole other thing, and this is just my personal opinion. Here's my whole personal opinion with what they should have done with the glasses. It should have just been AI. It should have just been like an AI or an interface system. Nothing, no weapons related. The only reason I say that is just so Peter could have had a very nostalgic moment. And then because the great thing about Homecoming, and you don't get that at all in this movie, and it actually kind of irritates me, is his best friend is his computer guy.
His man in the chair.
Yep, his man in the fucking chair. And they say that. They say that in this fucking movie. And where is he this whole movie? Nowhere. And he kind of gets replaced by Mary Jane. Or MJ. I gotta stop saying it's MJ. Gets kind of replaced by MJ for a little bit near the end when they kind of discover the telegraph or the holograph thing. And they're like, whoa.
Yeah.
But there's not a man in the chair thing. And what would have been fucking great is if Peter just integrated and did a really good nerdy moment was integrate the glasses into a smaller thing and find a way to put it into his eye things.
Because
so then he could have exactly. I know, and
but
they
he doesn't in this.
I know that's a whole nother thing. That's another nitpick, but anyway. So and I would have loved that because then that would have been now his permanent person in the chair related to Tony could have constantly been indebted there And of course, you're thinking then what? How does the ending work then? If that's all that is, all they had to do, it would have been so easy. All they would have had to do is in one of the scenes where they had one of the elementals be at a Stark laboratory, and then break in and just steal all the drones while they're having a hologram battle, and Mysterio, all he would have to do with his gang of 36 people that I know were purely just comedic effect of like, oh, the one only steams the cape and funny shit. But they also had 13 other people. You're telling me those 13 other people just couldn't have like, and I thought that would have been a better scene. What I wanted to lead this into is I'm getting very frustrated at Spider-Man because all of his villains are only Tony Stark rejects. And that's really pissing me off now.
Was Vulture?
Vulture worked at Stark Industries, and then the factory got shut down.
Yeah, because they really haven't established Spider-Man in that aspect.
Peter
of, like,
does not.
Osborn.
Peter does not have an original villain.
Yeah,
and that's another big one, by the way, which is already bad. So Peter already does not have Harry Osborn, which should be his lifelong friend, eventually turn and have a fucked up, like, corrupted father.
This could be their way of, like, subtly this whole time hinting at that Tom Holland might die or, like, pass the torch on to Miles, like, and then we would realize, because, like you said, it's not Mary Jane. It's MJ.
I know.
And, like, there's all these different, like...
But that's such, like, if you already, like, I mean, even for someone who loved it, you have to tell me that's bullshit. You're robbing all of the most amazing elements.
Oh,
like,
if Tom Holland dies? Oh, bro.
You'd rob everything amazing. You'd rob every good moment of actual Spider-Man shit.
With the way... this is going to be like a huge loop around it.
No, by all means.
I hope I can pull this off.
I've looped this around 36 times, by all means.
So the way that I've, like, seen storytelling changing throughout the years and stuff, like with stuff like Game of Thrones, Attack on Titan, fucking Battle Royale probably started it. And I'm talking about, like, the manga Battle Royale.
I know
what
you're saying.
Hunger Games a thing and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Storytelling that hit a point after, like, 2005 where they're like, let's make... Berserk was also the OG of this shit, where it's like, you're gonna get attached to all these fucking people, and then we're gonna massacre the fuck out of them, and you're gonna cry.
Yep.
I think that's, like, come into these movies where they're like, we just got this whole fucking crazy arc of, like, Iron Man and all that shit. It's been like 10, 15, whatever years.
Yep.
We got Infinity War, and all this stuff leads up to, like, and they show it at the beginning of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's not just Tony Stark that they're like, in memorandum, like, oh, Tony Stark died. No, they're like, fucking Black Widow's dead. Vision's dead. Like, there goes down the line of heroes.
I laugh so hard because of that terrible JPEG image of fucking Vision that they have.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's so... Oh, my God. That's when I was like, what the fuck is happening now?
Good.
Like,
I love that pseudo-internet video that was sent. See, that was a fucking great part. I love that part.
So they're getting in, like, to, like, really deep shit where it's like, we have to get people attached to these characters and then we have to kill them off.
We gotta do comic shit.
So, yeah, basically, if they would establish, and okay, let me just finish this. If
sure,
they would establish
do your thing.
They could potentially kill off Tom Holland just to keep it rolling. Like, if they're going to come out with stuff like Eternals and, like, all this other shit, and they're going to go Universal and Galactic and stop focusing on Earth and Earth problems, friendly neighborhood problems, which is like, who the fuck cares about seeing a cat in a tree when you see, like, cosmic fucking titan deities fighting so fucking hard they're obliterating nearby planets and shit. So that would be one way, would be to be like, yeah, you guys like Tom Holland? Yeah, oops, he's dead. Oh, here's, like, Miles.
Like, first of all, I don't think that they're going to do that soon.
I don't think they are.
Yeah, they're definitely building Tom. The big dynamic that I think that they're going to build up is to have the next two pillars, which is going to be Captain Marvel be the next, like, big eventual be one of the next big mainstays, but in the meantime,
she's gonna come back to Earth and, like, chill?
I think she will, but that's gonna be a lot of movies from now, because right now Falcon is gonna be the next big Captain America role and run with that, and then you're gonna have Spider-Man be the next Tony Stark, and their dynamic too is gonna be funny.
Already fantastic. Is this stuff coming out of you when they're
exactly.
fighting in the fucking
I love, like, their dynamic is gonna be good, and it's perfect because those two pillars
you can tell when they do the interviews and stuff too.
Like, they bust each other's chops all the time. I love
great.
it. So, and that's the thing too, like, I think for both of them, and I think for those two type of big pillars, you constantly need, like, they can't perfectly get along. I don't want them to be in sync. I want them to be disassociated, because that's a really cool part about the Avengers, is, like, they're not a perfect team.
Yeah.
The whole point is they not
did Civil War. Like,
exactly.
They're
like my favorite.
They don't always get along.
Like, my favorite line of all time is, like, we might not win the day, but you'll be damn sure we avenge it.
Yep.
And it's the perfect.
Yep.
It's the perfect summary, and that's what I love about that concept of, like, the Marvel heroes are not perfect. They fuck up all the fucking time. But that's the point. Like, the point is to fucking eventually they'll figure it out. Like, even an Endgame emphasizes that, even to the most grandest extent of They failed.
Oh,
It took them 3 years, and by the god stroke of a fucking rat landing on a button the wrong way, they fucking were able. They were able to fucking win the fucking day and be able to redeem it. And that's the shit. That's the shit that we live for. Now, going back, so like going way back. Now, we were talking about circles. I'm gonna go way back in a circle. Here's the thing that pisses me off about Peter Parker, and this is why, like, as a Spider-Man comic fan, this is why I give it a C. Number one. I cannot relate to this Tom Holland Peter Parker whatsoever. He has everything given to him. Literally. Yeah. He jumped in, and I get it. As a cinematic universe, I get it. He jumped in at a time where there's already a bunch of shit happening, and his first big role, he's in fucking space, which is not how the fuck Spider-Man should start. But, like, he already got Stark's everything. And that's too early. Like, Spider-Man wasn't... Like, think about it this way, and this is what's the most fucked up thing in my opinion. This Peter Parker has been given, like, essentially a multi-million-dollar thing and all of Tony Stark's, like, collectible shit before he's even in his first love quarrel. That's fucking insane. This Peter Parker is, like, Richie rich. Like, I can't relate to this kid because he doesn't have hardships. Like, he doesn't have shit going on. And the other thing that really fucking drives me insane is, like, Aunt May is useless in this movie. Like, are you fucking kidding me? First of all, he gets blipped back, and he's fucking going, like, out of town. Like, you would think she had to realize her, and even if she got blipped as well, like, her fucking nephew died. Like, dead. You don't think she would have fucking panic attacks about him leaving? No, what does she say? Oh, just make sure you bring your suit. She fucking high-fives him at the fucking blip event. Like, and I get it. I get this trying to be funny, but it's like, dude, this Aunt May now went from, like, having some pretty good character development in Homecoming, where she does have those moments, and Peter's keeping his identity secret because he knows Aunt May would flip out and doesn't want him to, like, you know, like... And I thought that was going to be a really way better dynamic, but what is it in this movie? It's a high five going like, you got him, like, good job, like, you were really awkward out there, and I get it. It's a little bit of a throwaway joke, but you know what would have been way better? Her really having a heart-to-heart moment with Peter going like, listen, and like, this was my whole thing that they should have done in this movie. Peter still should have been pursuing MJ, but it should have been a weird way of, because he's a teenager, and because, like, he doesn't have his brain on 100%, it should have been his way of averting, like, his way of ignoring that Tony died, and his way to kind of ignore grieving. So him being like, I have to pursue MJ, I really have to get this, and kind of be, like, weird, and, like, all of his friends should have been like, hey, dude, maybe you should, like, take a breather and, like, take a chill pill. And even Aunt May should have been the first person to sit him down and been like, listen, Pete, you just lost Tony, and you just lost Uncle Ben before. We know how you deal with loss, and it would have been so much better to get a flashback of, like, even now, because then you could have even bullshit retconned it of, like, oh, Uncle Ben did die, and then Peter kind of, like, just rolled it off, and then, all right, yeah, by all means, go.
Okay, so, not to cut you off.
No,
but
you're fine.
Leaving out of Endgame, one of the, like, big final moments of all of that was, like, when Tony died.
Yes.
Like, he wanted everybody to live their lives. Like, he wanted that final act to be, like, what makes everybody, like, Captain literally
can live his life finally.
Home and lived his whole life.
Yes.
Like, so I think
agree.
that sentiment carried on into Peter too, like, where he at least, like, he even says it in the movie. He's like, I don't want it to sound like this, but I didn't think I'd have to save the world this summer. Like, to him, he just came back and lost Tony, and now, like, it's like his first fucking summer. Like, and he's like, this is kind of fucked up. Like, I just want to kiss this girl. Like, I don't want to fucking do this shit. Like, you see him kind of get frustrated. And that's kind of why he passes all that off to Mysterio, because if they got us for half that movie being like, is this really, like, a good Mysterio?
Like, what are they doing?
Damn straight Peter fell for that shit too, and was like, Weary is the head that wears the crown. Yeah. And he's like, I trust you to know what to do best. Yeah, whatever the glasses said. And
But keep in mind, Peter knows him literally less than 48 hours and gives him the glasses.
Yeah, that's very
literally
true.
Has had 2 conversations
very
with him
true.
And literally knows him less than 48 hours
and
gives him the glasses to own millions of...
But they kind of pull him in with Nick Fury and stuff too, though, so it does seem very, like...
Yes.
trustworthy. Like, oh, okay, you're in on this like underground Fight Club team.
Well,
of, like,
they have to build it up for you to at least even try to understand. But even in that moment, I was like, no. Like, I get that they were in the brain, they wrote it down in the script of like, okay, and then Peter hands the glasses, and then that's how they do the drones. But that's even personally for me, I'm like, they could have given Pete the glasses and still had drones in the movie and done all the drone scenes, and they just could have... No, I'm not trying to sound like an asshole. They just could have wrote it better and just had a dope optical illusion thing and then played off of Mysterio's team even better, because then his team could have been like one of the walls of the building breaks and then they know the floor plans because they worked at Stark fucking Industries.
Right.
And then they could have just dipped out on all the drones, then reprogrammed. Like, it would have been that easy, and it also could have emphasized Mysterio being able to team build better. Pete wouldn't have been a fucking idiot and made that dumb decision. The other thing I did want to say to parallel more directly what you're saying. Here's where I still kind of argue with it just a little bit. Like, I totally get what you're saying with that, where he does just want to be a normal kid. And if we would have got a Spider-Man that started as a base Spider-Man story, I would have been right on your page.
Right, but because
he fucking went into space.
Yeah.
Fucking into space.
Into space.
I'm sorry. Yeah, dude, and it's that stuff where like I just feel like constantly like Spider-Man this sounds really bad to say it, but I'm sorry. I feel like it's written by two different writers. One who has to keep the Marvel shit together, and then one who is just trying to keep the movie interesting.
I completely
Because you have
agree.
Nick Fury say like, "Bitch, you've been to space," and then 10 seconds later he's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't want to sound like an asshole, but like I didn't think I was gonna have to save this world this summer." Bitch, you literally just saved the fucking universe. Like, you literally saved the galaxy, motherfucker. And now you're like, fighting elementals is hard. I'm like, I can't get with you now. That's my problem. Because, like, I feel like they did write some stuff of, like, this is what a base Spider-Man did have struggles with, of doing this stuff and doing the everyday. But the problem is, you skipped every normalcy part that Peter had.
Right.
You're jumping automatically into, hey, you're Tony's like fucking second in command, my dude. You got spider armor.
Yep.
You're fucking in space. You did Infinity War shit. You held the gauntlet. You fucking passed that shit off. And like now you're telling me you fucking are having a hard time web slinging a fucking water monster? Like, fuck off, dude. You fought Thanos.
Which, by the way, I love that part when he does the flash, he puts the web thing on, and then he turns the corner and shoots web into the water. When I was like, what do you think is gonna fucking happen?
Speaking of which, by the way, that's the only scene, and rewatching it, I don't know if it made it any better for you, but that's the only scene where kind of the Mysterio part actually doesn't make sense. Because he literally gets hit with water. Like, the drones keep doing a thing that they simulate bullets are doing the damage.
Oh, yeah.
But Peter gets hit with water.
They show that later in the movie. They go under the water and they shoot the sonic wave shit.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Which is why I kind of thought that the whole drone edition with, like, the guns and showing damage and stuff, that really helped with the whole illusion of, like, the whole fucking movie.
Yes.
I got heavy fucking Iron Man 3 vibes from this movie because I was like, oh my god, this guy is a supervillain.
The army of
this
things,
is fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then halfway through the movie, and you see him towards the end in his like new MCU regular fucking guy with an AR.
Oh, the mocap.
Head.
He's wearing like the mocap shit. Yes, I love it.
I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Love it. It's
like,
the fucking.
It reminded me of something out of fucking Metal Gear Solid or something. You're just like,
I just love it. It's like literally actors mocap fucking.
Yes.
It was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
I thought that was so. And then they still kind of kept it pseudo to the character because he has a bubble.
Yeah.
I thought that was so perfect.
Exactly.
I was like, that's so good. See, like that's my thing. Newer age stuff, like you have to update Mysterio. So I get it. It's optical illusions through drones instead of magic. Like, I'm totally... Or instead of weird optical mirrors. Like, I get that. I'm down... Like, that type of shit I'm down for. The other major thing. This is huge for me. And I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be an asshole. This is going to fuck up the entire third movie for me. Like, this is where I'm already not a big fan. So we get the dopest reveal of all time. Which was the first post-credit scene where we get J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh, my God. In his, like... crazy like what would you call that, like the like infomercial InfoWars like Spider-Man good
fucking John Jones type fucking shit.
Exactly.
Like that shit I'm totally fucking down for, but the like I'm sorry, this just drives me nuts. Like in the middle of the movie and even the tease, like the trailers talked about this, MJ figures out that Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
Oh yeah.
So what I thought was going to be a whole better. And even halfway through this movie, I realized that their chemistry, their little like quirky shit is cool. But I'm sorry, they don't have like. There's nothing yet that's proved to me that they have like real love.
Yeah.
Chemistry they have, absolutely. And they portrayed that well. And like I said, this isn't a discredit on the actors. It's just the way they're writing these movies. Mm-hmm. But my thing is, I was like, oh, the third movie is going to be perfect. Because then it's going to be MJ knowing she'll be on the inside circle. That's going to be what the whole movie's about. And they fucking ruin it literally within the same movie because now everyone fucking knows. They couldn't wait one more movie. Like, that was my plan of, like, I knew eventually they were going to have to say Peter is Spider-Man.
Right.
But they fucking show his identity already. Like, MJ knows that he's Peter for 30 minutes and then the world movie knows, like, that fucking fast. I was just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I'm just so confused, you know, of like where now the cinematic universe is gonna take this.
That's what I'm literally like checking.
I just
like,
don't.
What is even the next movie that comes out
like,
after this?
It sounds like at this point, even more so, like Peter is not like. We're just gonna have to not think of Spider-Man when we hear this shit. It is literally Tony Stark Jr. That's almost our call in these movies. I'm sorry. Because literally he's going to walk in and just put on a suit like in public at this point like fucking Iron Man does.
Yep.
Like that's how it's going to have to be.
Well. That's the funny thing about this. He's not just going to walk out in public at this point and put on the suit.
Well, yeah, now he has to be in hiding.
Mysterio's final fucking Mysterio trick card is making it sound like Peter's been the bad guy with the drones the whole time.
Well, on a side note too, by the way, I don't think he's dead.
Mysterio?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he's dead either.
I don't think he's dead because when did he record?
Whole final, like...
Because how did he record that?
It was the guy who had the drone data on the USB drive.
Oh, I thought...
Who's from the first movie.
Yeah,
the bad guy.
I thought he was... By the way, fun fact, you know he's actually... It's so funny because you know he's not actually in the first Iron Man.
Right.
I actually did... I did look back and check, and he's definitely not that actor. but I love that they
they throw those callbacks in there. They're like, nobody's going to look at this.
And they did do those scenes, but same thing. Like, you're not going to see Jake Gyllenhaal be a fucking shadow in the back. That wouldn't make any fucking sense. But like that, I was... Like, that shit I was totally fine with.
Did they ever say that guy's name? Is he going to be like...
Who? The bald dude?
Some other villain? Yeah.
The bald guy? Personally, I think... So here's my thought. I don't think Mysterio's dead. I think he might just end up like doing something else. I think the dude who took the USB drives could be like the next pseudo Mysterio.
Okay, yes.
To keep the identity going.
Right.
That's my personal opinion. That's my personal opinion. That's what it looked like to me of like to keep passing on the torch and to do shit like that.
Yep.
Now this could be very wrong. They could put Gyllenhaal in Gyllenhaal could end up being a totally different villain down the road. He might still I definitely still think he's gonna be a villain no matter what. But yeah, he just could be a totally different villain. Like he could just end up going insane or something and do something totally out there. He could be like, I mean, they'd really have to fucking put up a good web, so to speak, to draw a good line. But he could be like a fucking hobgoblin later.
Oh my god.
Of someone like, hey, you know who this is, but it's like, because that's the other thing too. Like the main villains of Spider-Man, we haven't really got big. We've gotten Sinister Six shit. We haven't got heavy hitters.
But
heavy hitters for me.
Established Oscorp, so you don't even know the fucking Osborns, and that's
major.
The backbone of Spider-Man shit. I agree. Like,
and that's the other thing too. That's so like the two, in my opinion. And I feel like you could probably agree with me on this. The two biggest cavalcade of villains in the entire comic book universe, in my opinion, would be Batman and Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah. You mean like bad guys?
Bad guys.
Yep.
Just literally infinite shit. You could, in my opinion, I feel like even if you're a better fan of a different universe, like say you're more of a Captain America fan or something, I guarantee you could list off more Spider-Man villains than your favorite superhero. I almost can guarantee
X-Men's
that.
Close, but yeah.
X-Men's great.
X-Men's real close, but I think Spider-Man I could probably off the top of my head.
Yep.
Because they just...
That's what I'm saying. There's just so many. There's so many. I mean, they literally have a group of the pseudo ones that are Sinister Six, and they even cycle those villains out. And then you have a bunch of other shit going on. Yeah. But like, I totally agree though. Oscorp is like such a fucking major player, and you haven't
because a lot of those villains come from Oscorp shit.
And you haven't heard a whisper of it once. And I get it. Oscorp now is turning into Stark. That's the whole thing.
Oscorp, I think, is turning into the whole Uncle Ben situation where, like, as Uncle Ben has been his void, Oscorp's been a void too. And at the final scene, you see him fixing Avengers Tower, which somebody was like, I forget who I was talking to. Somebody brought that up, and I was like, It's Baxter Building.
Yeah.
They need to get their shit together. I mean, looking at the lineup, it said New Mutants is one of the next ones. And
if
Eternals,
it even lands on the date, because fun fact, New Mutants was supposed to come out in the end of 2017, and we didn't. Yeah. Because remember, not. New Mutants was so I don't know if you remember.
That was going to be the X-Men.
It was the horror one.
Yeah,
it was that horror one
That's
where it had Arya Stark.
Yes.
And she was, but the problem is, first of all, the movie edited 4 times. They got 2 different writers.
Wow,
then the movie was originally rated R, and then they went, wait, we need everyone to see it, so they bumped it to PG-13. But then they had to do rewrites, and then when they did rewrites, the problem is they got all the characters back, and you have a character like, I can't think of her real name. I'm going to hell for this. Anyway, you have Arya Stark coming back, and the actress, I can't think of her name, but anyway, the actress, because she's like 2 years older. They can't shoot the same. They can't shoot the same shit. So what they did, they retconned the whole fucking movie, and now they're just doing a whole movie from the ground up.
What the fuck?
Yep. So that's what New Mutants is at the moment. Wow. We have no fucking idea what's going on with it. It's a clusterfuck, my dude.
Well, then, if the Eternals happen,
yes, if the Eternals happen,
then we're going back to space, bitch.
Dude, I'm saying this right now, and this would be the coolest thing of all time. And I know you've already heard it too, of Marvel always keeps like jokingly low-key approaching Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
All I want is Keanu Reeves to be Adam Warlock.
Thank you for fucking saying
that.
That
would be the dopest shit ever. It'd be the best dude where you hear the name and be like, what the fuck ever, but everyone would see Keanu on screen and go, oh shit, and not to mention Adam's like a fucking low-key god. Like, just fucking murking people in universes.
Earlier you were like, oh, Spider-Man's one of my favorite superheroes. For me, it's a tie between Adam Warlock and Starbrand. Like, those two are fucking
Warlock's
top tier.
Warlock's a lot more of a villain, though. A lot.
Adam Warlock.
Yeah. He's a villain in a lot of shit going on.
Adam Warlock.
Yeah, what did I say?
Okay, so do you know the whole, like, chronology?
Yes.
Of it all? Like, he's one person, he splits himself.
Yes.
He repels all the evil. That's Magus.
Yeah, no, okay, I know what you're talking about, but you do realize, like, later down the road, he's, like, when he recombines in some of the fucking iterations, he goes, like, fucking insane.
Yeah.
He can't keep his mind together.
No, they're 2 separate people.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
But then, there are times when he's, like, complete, but, okay, so there's...
Yeah, I'm talking about the fucking, when he's, like, full Golden Boy half the time, though, and he goes, like, evil shit, and then that's when he's, like, standing up with, like, Galactus and fucking all the other, the fucking World Eater and shit, like all the fucking
he
people
goes
that can
and
blow
sees
shit up.
One Above All, which is actually like the most powerful thing in the Marvel universe.
Like literally where the Watchers
Thanos.
Like came from and shit.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm not saying he doesn't do heroic shit, because down the road, absolutely, he does do hero
it's crazy.
shit.
He splits his light part out, too, so he's like neutral, light, and dark, and that becomes like this Joan of Arc looking chick, and she literally goes into the multiverse and just starts getting all the Infinity Stones from all the realities and just cultivates like an armor set. She makes a sword and a shield. She's amazing. It's so good.
No, hey, listen, man, I'm right there with you. But that's like, so to super try to reel this shit back in, like, that's so that's my whole thing though when it comes to the cavalcade of shit. So like the cavalcade of villains, Spider-Man's like one of the best. And I just feel like, yeah, when you lose Oscorp, which should have been the best crux into, and that's the other thing too, like, Spider-Man, like, this is the fucking thing. So many villains came from Oscorp because Oscorp is supposed to be in New York, and that's where the fuck this shit's supposed to be happening, because Spider-Man's a fucking home superhero. Like, he fights in New York, and that's his fucking thing. The problem is when you have Stark, who's, like, not from fucking New York, like, you have that, and you have, like, all his fucking world bases are in fucking everywhere, shape, and form. And you have all these fucking villains that are like, oh, I came from Stark, not from Oscorp. And then you're like, okay, so then why the fuck is Peter...
all fucked
yeah,
up.
well, the continuity's fucked, then Peter's already going around anyway. So then why the fuck would Peter be like, oh, I'm only like a homegrown superhero? It's like, no, bitch, you were in Civil War fighting fucking Captain fucking America and literally soloing Falcon and fucking Winter Soldier solo. You caught that fucking metal arm, my dude, and you're gonna tell me like, oh, I'm just only
part of you?
I love that. I fucking love that shit. Oh, this toy's really neat. Like it was so that's what bums me out so much.
Banter.
They hyped and that's the thing too, by the way. You get almost no
banter.
You get no good banter. Civil War is still, for the new shit, is the best banter you get.
Yes.
By far. You get the Star Wars jokey references. Yep. You get the fucking, like, oh shit, this shit's like so cool. I bet what is it made of? Like poly fucking urethane? Yeah. Like he starts going like full fucking ham. You have the Falcon shit of like, is this shit coming out of you? Like what the fuck? So awesome. I love that shit. Like that's what I'm in for. And yeah, like this movie you don't get a lot of quips. And like, and I'll say this, I don't give a fuck how unpopular this opinion is. Just as a Spider-Man, I still think Andrew Garfield did the best.
Yeah.
Not as a movie. Amazing Spider-Man movies are garbage. They're garbage. But like you just have a couple pivotal scenes, like and it's why like I can relate to Andrew Garfield. A great example. Like yes, you get the redid Uncle Ben story bullshit. But you want to know what is like one of the coolest scenes just in all the Spider-Man movies that I personally love that nobody really talks about? When Andrew Garfield in the first Amazing Spider-Man walks up the stairs after the whole Uncle Ben incident. And it's like, it might even be a couple days later. I think it's right after. I might be mistaken, but moral of the story. He sits in a room. It's dark, alone. He's like crying in the fetal position. And he's just listening to a voicemail of Uncle Ben. I can fucking relate to that because that is a fucking human thing. Yep. And like, that's a fucking thing that we should all get behind. And it's just the thing of like, and even like fucking when Gwen Stacy dies in Amazing Spider-Man 2. That is the most emoting a fucking Spider-Man character has ever done, ever. Like, you fucking see him just completely break down. It's like, it's one of the greatest fucking, like, superhero scenes out there. Like, I mean, say what you will about the horrible things that they try to shoehorn 55 things in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie, because that was fucking terrible. But that moment, at least, really fucking nailed it. Like, it nailed it. But that Green Goblin was the worst Green Goblin of all time. And I thought Surfer Goblin was the worst. That's probably why Oscorp isn't in the MCU. They don't want to fuck it up. But like, I'm sorry. I just don't like. I'm not trying to sound crazy. I don't think it's that hard to fuck up. And more so, even this, Nelson. Even this. You don't even have to give me Goblin yet. Just give me the lifelong friend of Harry. Yeah. Just have him like if this cinematic universe is going to have a bunch of Peter Parker's dumb friends like fucking Flash that he's not even friends with and all his school friends and have them be throwaway characters and dumb lines, you can't have one of them be Harry fucking Osborn. Oh, I know. You can't just have one. And even this is the bullshit too of like, you're trying to give more in-depth to Flash. They have the scene where Flash comes back from the airport and he goes, oh, Mom's not here? Yeah. Why couldn't that have been a Harry character coming back from the airport and go, oh, Dad couldn't make it? Oh yeah! Come on, man! Like I'm telling you this right now. I'll tell you this right now, Nelson. I'm gonna quit the series. I'm not joking. I'm not joking when I say this, and because I haven't seen it, I haven't looked back. Have we officially heard that Flash's last name is Thompson? In this new movies, like in Homecoming and in Far From Home. If you don't know, it's not a big deal. I don't know either.
Flash Thompson.
Yeah, but I'm saying because we've heard his name's Flash. Do we know his last name is Thompson?
Maybe in the first movie.
All I'm saying is this. If they didn't, and they drop in the third movie that his last name is like Osborn, I'm done. I'm fucking done. I'm done. Like I'm fucking
Harry the Flash Osborn.
I'm quitting the fucking
Venom hits him quick.
I'm quitting the thing. Why, dude? If he goes like, oh, my name's Harry, but I go by Flash, I'd be done. I'd literally be like, well, this was an experience, and I'd just be done. So, and listen, I apologize deeply because I've really been ragging on the movie a lot. I did go to the theater, and I enjoyed it. It's just my still biggest... I will first say this. Into the Spider-Verse is still the best Spider-Man movie that I've seen. Yes. By a fucking landslide. Yes. Like, by a fucking landslide. Is the closest we've gotten to a... Even though it's a totally different, like, timeline shit. Right. Very close, though, to a very realistic Peter Parker. Yes. Even... Like, fucking, again, like, I'm sorry, Far From Home does not deal with death properly. It doesn't. You see Peter have a teary-eyed moment for 10 seconds. At the beginning. Yeah. At the end. Like, not because he lost Tony, but because, I just don't know how to, like, fulfill it. And, like, I give her the pocket emblem, please. Like, I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like... Lose your shit, man. Like, you fucking lost him. And, like, that should have been a moment, too. Like, Peter should have been, like, losing his fucking mind over, like, losing Tony. And then all of his people should have been like, dude, like, we know how you deal with loss. Like, Uncle Ben's fucked you up so much you don't even talk about it. That would have been such a good throwaway line. One line. One fucking line. And to just immediately for all of us to go, oh, that's why he doesn't talk about Uncle Ben. It would have been fucking sorry, like I get so
You're
frustrated. Right. I get so frustrated because
all
like
these easy little.
It's so easy. It's just one little caveat, and oh man. So what I want to say though is like, I'm still gonna watch the next movie, and it's still I'm down for what the cinematic universe is doing as a whole. But I'm sorry, as a Spider-Man fan, I think they're jipping Spider-Man off because out of a character. And especially if you can make, like, most people couldn't even get behind Captain America back in the day. And I'm sorry, Captain America is the best Marvel trilogy out. Like, I will fight anybody. I seriously don't know a better trilogy. You have fucking Captain America, First Avenger. You have fucking Winter Soldier and Civil War. Those movies, just story building and everything, are the best
pivotal parts
by a fucking landslide. I mean, even take out the fact that they're pivotal, just the movies themselves and the context that they have in story. Even if all of those were one-shot movies, like even if you didn't have backgrounds of shit and those things are happening, they're still, in my opinion, like the fucking absolute like crux of everything. And it just bums me out because like I think Spider-Man could be easily the main next phase 2 of Marvel. Right. And I feel like they're missing the mark. I feel like they're putting him off as a side-ish character. Like, even in this movie, he can't even be, like, his main thing. He has to be a Tony. He has to do Tony things for him to be cool. And it's like, no! Like, he should just totally fucking innovate and totally be off script and be doing shit that no one's thinking of because that's what makes him fucking awesome. Is he's the one who fucking, in all the other Spider-Man scenes where they don't really nail it 100%. In Amazing Spider-Man, they do it terribly. But, like, where he's innovating his own web design and doing his own shit, and you fucking run with that. Yep. And, like, in this one, no, he does the Tony Stark thing where he's flipping around the stuff. And like I said, I'm totally okay with them doing that to show a parallel to Tony. I'm fine with that. But don't emphasize that the character should be 100% his own thing and then literally copy and paste Tony Stark scenes.
Right.
Like that's I'm torn. That's what I want to say about it. I'm very torn. I've been thinking about it. I think we went to the movies almost like a week ago now.
Yep.
And I've just been like sitting and stewing on it. And like I said, I don't hate it. Like I honestly, like if I just had to give the movie a review like out of 10, I'd give it a 7 or an 8. And strongly. Like it's not a bad movie. It's just like if you're gonna have such a comic tethered character and such a strong comic tethered character, you have to give us more. I'm sorry. Like you have to give us more. Like you're losing everything that even makes that character a superhero. And it's like, okay. And if you're gonna replace it with new stuff, that's okay. I'm down for new innovative stories. I mean, to be honest, that's why I was in with Miles when even the comics started. Because Miles did, at least in the very, like, literally they introduced Miles. He doesn't have an amazing, heroic backstory of, that's what, I like that even better. They made him even more, like, everyday man. Like, I love that. I was like, that's fucking awesome. But this cinematic universe is going the other way. Of like, oh, like, no, he's, like, special. Like, Tony saw specialness in him, and that's why they pushed him up to the promised land. And I'm like, okay, that's dope. Watching a dope superhero. It's almost a Superman complex. I'm down to watch it, but I can't relate to the dude.
Yeah.
And that's what sucks, because it's a character that I typically am, like, the most relating to.
Yep. So even in the comics, he's like 30 at least on his second failed marriage when he gets Tony Stark tech shit, and he's like in his building, inheriting all that stuff.
Exactly. At least
Parker Industries.
At least, even in any iteration, post college.
What I think they might honestly do, exactly, post college. If they are just going to jump in and do the Eternals and all this stuff, and like there's no schedule for any of this stuff coming out, they might. He has one more movie that's like on contract, which could easily just be fucking renewed, and it's 7 movies.
Easily.
I think they might just come back to him, and they're just gonna do like a time skip, like a traditional time skip. They're gonna be like, he's in the building, he's running shit. They're probably gonna open with one of those fucking Tony flipping through tech stuff, and you're gonna see like how far he's come, and he'll have his relationship established and all that stuff. Because at this rate, like with what we're talking about, they're skipping over these like pillars of Spider-Man
Yes.
up until this point.
They're
Like,
literally skipping the
they're-
courses that make Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's not even like a news reporter or any of that stuff. Like
Exactly.
none of that.
He's
No
not-
cameras.
Oh, that's the other thing too. I totally forgot about that. By the way, that's the other thing. Tony Stark gives him everything. This motherfucker, like,
We
where is his
skipped
photo
that.
taking? Where is him paying rent? Where is the struggle? Like, he has no
We're just
struggle.
not even there yet.
He doesn't
Where
even
it's
have a job.
Such an amalgamated, traditional, non-traditional. We need to make this fit in with the movies. Like Tony Stark's gonna give him an internship into college, and I don't know.
I know, man.
But
and that's my thing too. Like, even if this movie would have jumped,
Right.
and Peter's in college, and then and I get. But this is the problem, and I do understand this. The cinematic universe is really building cinematic stuff. But I'm sorry, like, I just think you should give Spider-Man a fucking Logan-esque treatment and just give, like, one-off movies that don't have to follow the continuity of the cinematic thing. Like,
Right.
if you just would have jumped Peter into college, and then, like, after all that time been, hey, MJ's always been around in my life, but I never really noticed her that way. And then started, like, because he's known her then for so long, and then you at least have a friendship to build off it, and then you can run with that, as opposed to just being the girl who's like, I like dark things, and I'm weird. And, like, listen, that's fine. Listen, they're in high school. I get that they're not, I don't expect them, I don't expect them to have, like, super in-depth character, because they're still in high school. I get that. But at the same time, because they're just in high school, you can't expect me to, like, super lock this shit down. And I'm sorry, like, Mike, and this is 100% personal. This isn't a review about the movie at all. One of my favorite comics of all time is Spider-Man Blue. I don't know if you've ever read the whole run. Nope. So anyway, I'm gonna fuck up a lot of this, so bear with me. One of the directors, I think he primarily did, I can't remember now. Damn it, he did DC. He did one major thing in DC. It was either Batman or something major in DC Comics. I'm gonna fuck it up. Anyway, a major thing that he did, he broke off from DC and did a partnership with Marvel for one big run, where it was the color run, where he did Spider-Man Blue, Hulk Orange, Daredevil Yellow, and all of the Marvel superheroes had a color designated to them, and they each had this very weird, completely separate backstory. And most of them were very romantic themed, and Spider-Man is one of the best ones because, first of all, if you even take that whole backstory out of it, one of the best dynamics, especially on the Peter Parker end, is the whole love triangle of Gwen Stacy, Mary Jane, and fucking Peter Parker.
Yep.
And they've not tapped that once in any of these fucking movies.
Nope.
And it's one of the best parts. Anyway. Because I love that dynamic. I just love that dynamic because that's how it is with friendships and stuff. Like, there are, like, ooh, I'm jamming this chick, and then 5 days later, oh shit, I'm into this one, and then the women have to still deal with it, and then even the other outside friends who are hooking up with them, like fucking, pseudo Harry and shit, are also doing that, and that's weird. That's what happens when you're a kid, and you don't get that in the fucking movies.
We never even got a black cat.
No! We haven't got a black cat ever! I'm sorry. All right.
I feel the same way. I'm just sitting here like, wow.
I'm very fucking upset. I'm serious. All the shit you love about Spider-Man has not been in the movies.
You're right.
All of it.
You're right.
All of it.
You're right.
All of it. Especially in the new shit. You haven't got Green Goblin. Haven't got fucking Hobgoblin. Haven't got fucking goddamn Oscorp shit at all. Haven't got the fucking Harry dynamic. Haven't got the fucking love triangle shit. Haven't gotten Black Cat. Haven't gotten fucking, like, all the other goddamn fucking...
Jesus.
Fucking nuts! It drives me insane. And listen, I get it. Movies take time. You have to build up a franchise. I get it. It's the fucking longest cinematic universe been going on. Just give me some more shit.
You should fucking know how to do it.
Fucking what? That's all the fuck I want. I said like 13 things there and I lost my initial tangent. But it's just that thing of like, fuck, man, like I just... the colors. I'm back in the colors.
Spider-Man Blue.
One of my favorite comics of all time is Spider-Man Blue, and it's this amazing. Peter is upstairs in his attic, and he's going through a bunch of photos and stuff, and he's he's remembering all of his memorable moments with Gwen Stacy. The first time they met, the first time they kissed, the first date they went on, just them hanging out in like a group where both of what they were thinking in their head as the moments are happening. So you kind of get this really cool like back and forth like parallel and get into the mind of both of them. All this stuff. And then it cuts to the end and Peter's like sifting through all this stuff and he's like crying and he's like, Gwen, like I'm so sorry, like, and he's recording all of this stuff on a tape recorder so he like doesn't forget. and he's just like, Gwen, like, no matter what, like, I will always love you. And then, like, one of the last couple pages is MJ walks upstairs to the attic and, like, hears Peter say all this. And you would think, like, oh, no, that's, like, a fucked up thing to say, but she totally understands it. Like, Gwen has always been Peter's first love, and she just, like, holds him, and she's like, it's okay, Peter. Like, she was my friend, too, and absolutely, like, we'll all always love her. And it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful because it takes that Peter Parker dynamic thing. Oh, and the thing I love about it is you literally only see it's one of my favorite Spider-Man comics.
Because there's no Spider-Man.
You barely see Spider-Man, and it conveys such a fucking human emotion, and it's so well, and it doesn't have to be this overbearing thing, and it fucking works. It works so well. I know, I want to fucking slam the shit. It fucking works, and it's so fucking good. And that's the fucking Spider-Man shit I love. And I know that sounds dumb because, like, I really wish I was like, oh man, I fucking love the part where Spider-Man fucking kicks ass and fucking does the shit. No, it's the human shit. It's when they ground the fucking superhero down and make him more fucking human. That's when I'm fucking on board.
Yep.
Like, fucking, even you take a superhero, like, one of the other really good ones is Kraven's Last Hunt. Spider-Man gets buried alive. You know what I'm thinking the entire time I'm flipping through that? Oh man, Spider-Man's a superhero, what's he gonna do? No, if I was buried alive in that situation, I would crumble. I would die and I would fucking crumble. Like, and this motherfucker is trying to do his best to literally get out, and what is inspiring him in his head, I'm in it. I'm in it with him. Let's fucking do this. Like, I'm riding the same train as him. Let's fucking go. And, like, we just haven't gotten that in these fucking movies. And that's, like I said, and this is me being more crucial than any other Marvel cinematic because Spider-Man is my personal favorite. But I'm sorry. They can do it. I know they can do it.
Yep.
They've been killing it. They've been killing the fucking game.
It's
and I just want them to take it just that fucking step further.
Yeah.
I just want them to be better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Every time, like, now you just got me thinking back to, like, it's Endgame when Thanos' people, like, just carpet bomb the Avengers place.
Yes.
Where's Spider-Man? You would think he'd be like, haha, I'm under this huge thing and I'm little me, like, traditionally in the comics, like, lifting this thing that's huge. And where is he? He's, like, trapped under something, like, oh, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
Like, and you're like, damn, Peter's fucked up. Like, they keep him, like, this vulnerable thing. They haven't, like, had him establish himself as, like, as we know him, like, it's fucking Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Like, Peter Parker that's, like, on the back of the Hulk, like...
The dual parallel. That's the other thing of, like, Peter's, like, the nerdy, wimpy dude, but when he's Spider-Man, he's the cocky fucking dude. Mm-hmm. He's got his fucking shit together. He's fucking got this. Like, and he's the same... I think that's the thing of, like... I think Tom probably looked at, like, what Tobey did, like, Tobey Maguire and then Andrew Garfield, and saw, like, the parallels. Like, Tobey's kind of, like... the really good Peter Parker, and Andrew Garfield's like the really good Spider-Man. So Tom probably looked at both and tried to, like, take bits and pieces, but kind of the problem then, at least the way that I see that, if I were to critique his Spider-Man at all, is it feels like there's no change. Like, he is Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and there's really no difference whether he has that mask on or off.
Right.
Even because most of the time it's the digital one. So, like, you see him flip all the time, and it's not like... Even another example, like, even in this new movie, and I'm just finding shit to critique, but I'm sorry. Like, he's not the Peter Parker in the comics that we know and love, purely because of this. That fucking scene where Aunt May is introducing him, and he's like, yeah. Thanks. What he should be doing if he was Spider-Man was fucking web sling, fucking do a dope trick, and be like, I'm Spider-Man. And then afterwards take off the mask and go, oh my fucking god, like, oh shit, I thought it was gonna fall. Like, that's, god damn it. Like, I want... Fucking, it's not, it would be better. This sounds so bad to say this, I'm sorry. It would just be better if they introduced him as Miles.
Yep. If
this Spider-Man jumped in and was like, hey, I'm Miles, and just was Miles Morales, then
steals the spotlight.
Then I wouldn't argue.
Yeah,
or just, I shouldn't even say Miles, because Miles does have a cemented backstory. I'm sorry though, if they literally just didn't call him Peter Parker, or if they just would say that, I don't know, if they just would literally be like, by the way, his name's Peter Parker, his name's Spider-Man, his complete story is retcon. That's what they should tell us.
Yeah.
Instead of going like, hey, instead of retelling the Uncle Ben story, we're just gonna skip it. What they should have said was, Uncle Ben never happened.
That's what we might end up getting, because, like, with him being like, oh, this is Earth 616, like, and trying to establish the multiverse.
But it doesn't.
Whenever they
But
do...
they lie.
They
that's
just
bullshit.
throw that shit out the window immediately after trying
to
sell it to you.
Which is kind of a wasted opportunity, too, which kind of depresses me a lot.
If Miles does show up or something, he's like, oh, this is this reality.
That'd be dope.
They might just like make the MCU its own new reality
if they
where
do
they just kind of yep.
I would
love to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield show up like.
That's what I'm saying. I was literally just about to say
dynamic.
that. You and me speculated, so we were speculating like way before we saw the movie that if the trailer was legit, first we were validating whether Mysterio was even telling the truth or not.
Yeah.
But we did say like if that story was technically true and valid, then the dopest scene of all time would have been even a glimpse of fucking Andrew or fucking Tobey Maguire, just even web sling, didn't even have to talk to him, but just like fucking web sling and just go, like that would have been so fucking dope. Because you even have like, oh man, one of the coolest things I would love is if you have now J. Jonah Jameson saying like, and no one would believe him, but saying, I came from a different universe. There's fucking, green goblins and all that shit. And then everyone would be like, JJ, you're fucking...
You're crazy.
So then, everyone goes like, oh, you're crazy, no one believes. But then all of us would be like, oh my god. That would be fucking
He's from
dope.
our reality.
Then I would be like...
The Fox 40.
That would be fucking awesome. That would be the best way for everyone to, pass it off, but then them lock it in as canon. But yet again, they fuck with it. They fuck around with some shit. And like I said... I'm gonna watch the new Spider-Man movie whenever it comes out. I will always give Spider-Man a chance, no matter what. But here's what I really want. I really just want I want a creme de la creme of an animated series at this point. If they're not gonna give me what I want out of the movies,
just have it into the Spider-Verse.
Well, just literally, I just want Peter Parker's origin story. I want it told properly, and then I want Harry to be his, childhood friend. I want him to meet and date Gwen first, go through that whole thing, have his first breakup with Gwen, and they obviously get back together and do a bunch of shit, but then the first major breakup, and then literally fucking Peter, goddamn, is, so completely distraught. Aunt May's like, hey, there's this, neighbor next door, you should probably check her out. Because, fuck off. I just got through a breakup, I'm fucking terrible. Just kicks open the door, face the tiger, you hit the jackpot. That's all I want! I want it! That's all the fuck I want. And, here's the thing, though, too. I'm glad that MJ in this new setup is not the comic book Mary Jane. I'm very glad of that. That's not... I don't want...
She fits whatever is happening.
Exactly. Yes. That's the thing I do want to emphasize. I don't want this to get twisted. I don't want the comic books to be this cinematic universe. But I'm sorry. There's just... Even if you're going to do this cinematic way of retelling people and doing this shit, you have to keep some of the pillars that are Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and they don't do that. Or if they're not... Or if they are doing it, they're not putting it in enough in the movies for you to keep that in your brain.
Right.
This movie almost constantly does that shit, and it fucking drives me nuts. Here, can you survive for 2 more seconds? Okay, so let's just wrap it up because we're at a fucking hour and 40, probably a little bit less. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're talking for a long time, my dude.
Nighttime.
I know, it got fucking dark. So Nelson, thank you so much again for being on. I honestly could not think of a better companion to have. First of all, just on the podcast, I wanted to have you on for so long, so I'm very honored. Right. So thank you.
I'm honored.
You are always welcome on anytime. Anytime, my dude. You think of fucking anything you want to talk about, any fucking new shit, anime, fucking goddamn Power Ranger, fucking comics, because we riff about that all the fucking time.
I will take you up on that.
Yeah, seriously, please.
I will take you up on that.
You hit me up whenever you want, my dude. Like I said, honestly, the pleasure is mine. I will have you on whenever, wherever. So on that note, guys, as always, good evening, good night, and good luck. Goodbye, everybody.